Hello and welcome back to the Heroclix History channel. So glad to have you here today. Today we're going to talk about one of the most popular sets for 2004. It was the 10th set released, and the 9th set was Universe, which I'm not going to go over because Universe was just essentially an enormous reprint and wasn't really a set that was had a great following. But this set did. This set is, not, of course, I speak of none other than the Ultimates. And the Ultimates was, I thought, a great set for its time. And I have pre-lined up here several veterans to show you. I did get a suggestion from a couple of folks that, while they thought it was cute and fun to go do the dumping box method, they kind of preferred that, or they advised that maybe I have them set up ahead of time, which I've done before in earlier videos. So I hear you, I don't mind suggestions, and I will certainly try to do what I can to make this video channel the best that it can be, or the best that I can personally produce. I am a bit limited on technology, but at least we can have fun looking over some of these pieces. So let's get started. Let's dig in here to some of these awesome veteran pieces. I think the first one that I'm going to put up here is good old Sabretooth. As a veteran, he was 76 points. There were some pretty good attack values, and the sculpts with this set were really nice. As a matter of fact, sculpts from this set were really popular with modders, because they were able to make certain pieces into, of course, certain other pieces, like Mimic, and I'll get to the piece they used to make Mimic here in a second. And I'm speaking of Mimic with the XMen enemy ally type character. Sabretooth has the arch nemesis base, and his arch nemesis was, of course, Wolverine. But Wolverine was not your typical. He was, and let me see if I can spot him real quick. I only have the rookie of him, it looks like, was this version of Wolverine when they first started calling him the James Howlett Wolverine. And of course, you still got double the points if one KO'd the other, as far as those bases were concerned. But I thought, it's a really nice sculpt of Sabretooth. Really good sculpt use in this set. Let's see who else we've got. We've got a Sentinel Trooper. So there were some little Sentinels flying around. Of course, we did have the Colossal Sentinel that come out earlier. And so these guys were great to pair up with a nice big Sentinel if you were going to play Sentinels. You could get a few of these guys and have them out there. Of course, we have good old Captain America. And for its time, one of the best poses for Captain America, I thought. And for 103 points, you get 10 spaces of charge, a 12 attack, a 17 defense with energy shield deflection, 3 damage with leadership. So this is a piece, at least on its opening click, that could stand up to some clicks today. And of course the Ultimates team ability. Now what was the Ultimates team ability? Well, it was essentially Superman team ability if you need to cross it that way, but you could see through stealth and move through hindering. And of course with the new rules coming up, now it's simply you can see through stealth, and that's about it. Until I see more of what those rules say, anyhow. So there's Captain America. We've got Backpack Spiderman, one of my favorite sculpts for Spidey, and also a pretty good piece to play. 58 points for a veteran with 10 and 10 on movement and attack, a 17 defense with willpower. Only 2 damage front-loaded, but he really counted on grabbing a nice heavy object with that super strength and crowning somebody for 5 clicks of damage. And that's just kind of what he was meant to do. And 10 spaces of leap climb meant he could get in position really quickly. So, let's keep looking. The Ultimate X-Men were in this. Now, as I'm sitting here, I don't remember what the Ultimate X-Men team ability did. So I'm going to throw that to you. Tell me in the comments, what was the Ultimate X-Men team ability? Because it wasn't swapping damage. Let's see who can tell me what it is in the comments. But they had all sorts of these, and of course we've got Cyclops, Beast. Who else have I got here for Ultimate X-Men? As I look around through my pieces here, that looks to be kind of what I have to show you today. But I have those three. And again, pretty well playable. Cyclops had 8 range with 2 targets, a 10 attack with energy explosion, and front-loaded 4 damage. So even if you got up close to him, he could hit really nicely. His defense, a 15. So it was still really shoddy on defense for him. He had the old-style defense. They all had really low defenses. So let's take a look. Keep going. Let's have a look at some other pieces here. We got a couple more Ultimate Avengers and a Defender here to take a look at. That would be Black Widow, Hellcat, and Hawkeye. And Hawkeye was a favorite. He was definitely a favorite. Because at a veteran or even at his blue level, where it was 60 points, he had 8 range and ranged combat expert with an 11 attack or a 10 attack that made him really good for sniping. And that 3 damage, giving it a +2, just made him kind of a damage hose at 8 range. So he was definitely good for the Avengers, and he was a fun piece. And again, I really enjoyed the sculpts when this came out. I still like them now. I think they're great sculpts. Let's hop back here a little bit. Let's pull up. There's one of our generic dudes, the Morlock. And then we got some of Serpent Society. We got 3 people here from Serpent Society. Now, the Serpent Society team ability allowed you to use phasing. And it couldn't really be mixed with much else, but being able to phase around for Serpent Society was really useful. It is now a defunct team ability. You don't see it used anymore. But altogether, Princess Python was probably one of the least favorites of the set because people really didn't value, at least I didn't see a lot of players around me, value Incapacitate as much as they're probably going to value it with the rules changes. But Anaconda was good with super strength and plasticity, so it was hard to get away from her. Morlocks were just kind of a cool 23-point veteran that you could put out to tie figures up and do a little bit of minimal damage. And of course, Sidewinder had leadership and 14 movement. So he could really get around the map. But he couldn't do, in my opinion, a whole lot else. And as I'm getting closer to the end here, I got another veteran X-Man. Yeah, I couldn't find him a moment ago, but here we go. And let's bring up Ghost Rider. Another couple of pieces that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed playing Ghost Rider, especially the LE Ghost Rider that came out. And I was searching my collection for him recently to show him to you, and sadly, I could not find him. But for 125 points with Colossus, you've got nice charge, super strength, impervious, and a front-loaded 4 damage. Now again, his defense was really low at a 16, but if you could get that hit in there, that was definitely going to do some damage, because a heavy object for him meant 6 clicks. And then good old Ghost Rider, and I don't think I have him on his opening click here. Oh yeah, I do. He had an activation click. Activation clicks were, in my opinion, one of the lamest things, but at least everybody was on the same kind of point of the battlefield, having to use activation clicks to get figures up and going. And I think, yeah, he had one too. He had an activation click. You had to push him and then turn him. And I'm trying to turn these dials without a ring, and then turn him to his first click of actual powers. You don't see those so much anymore. I think that they were kind of a wasted space on the dial. But overall, I still really enjoyed the set. And as you can see, once again, the sculpt work was just really nice for this set. It's not my favorite set from then as far as sculpt work is concerned. I did mention that Fantastic Forces was definitely my favorite. And finally, let's take a look at a few villains here. We've got the Hellfire Guard, who are armed with Energy Explosion. We've got the Lizard. We have Ultimate Electro and Dr. Octopus, and these guys have, of course, the Sinister Six or Spider-Man enemy team abilities that allowed them to share attack value if they were adjacent to another team member who had a higher value. And most of them started out at roughly the same. Now, of course, veteran Lizard did not have the team ability. But if I look around, let's see, Rookie Lizard didn't have it, and I don't seem to have the other one over here available. For some other fun sculpts, let's take a look real quick, because that I always thought was a fun sculpt. The Punisher with his movie sideways leap into action kind of thing. We've got another person we hadn't seen there. We got Callisto of the Morlocks. And let's see here. Who else have I got in other points that you haven't seen right off? Not too many, but I will say this figure right here was the one that was commonly turned into Mimic, because you could get some wings and glue them on his back, and you could kind of repaint him. And I actually sold, back when modding was a bit more low-tech, a few modded Mimics with extras of that figure. Now, as you see, I sadly don't have any uniques to show you, but I will say that the most popular unique, in my opinion, was Ultimate Thor, who was just a massive damage dealer, really dangerous on the table. So, there we have it. A little bit of talk about this team. What do you remember most about playing Ultimates? What were your favorite figures? And what were your favorite teams? And don't forget, remind me, what was that team ability for Ultimate X-Men? With that, that's going to be all we're going to hit today for the Heroclix History Channel at this kind look back into the past. And I do hope you'll tune in with us again. Remember to hit the subscribe and the bell, and keep rolling those awesome boxcars and critical hits. Till next time.